Right, so today we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be attempting to do a tutorial. Now, I've never done a tutorial before, so it could definitely turn out pretty bad. But bear with me and hopefully you'll learn something. So quickly before we get into the tutorial, I want to go over a couple of things, but if you're in a rush and you just want to learn, then skip to the timestamp that'll be on the video right now. Skip to that in the video and it'll take you straight to the tutorial. If you've got a spare minute or so, then stick with me as I've got a couple of things I want to say and it really won't take long and I'd appreciate it. So starting off, as you've probably seen, as I've got previous videos and a lot of stuff on my socials, I've got a new track, 10 Toes Up, dropping on the 26th of February. 10 toes, always on the run until the pain goes. I'm going to put a pre-save link down below in the description that I'd appreciate if you went to, as the more pre-saves I get on a track before it's released, the higher chance I have to get on playlists and other stuff, and it basically just really help me out. Secondly, I've actually been sponsored. So the sponsorship I got is by a company called Standards. When they hit me up, I honestly thought it was going to be a scam or they were going to send me a bunch of low quality jewelry, but I was wrong. The jewelry is really high quality and genuine gold. If you're a rapper or some sort of artist looking to get iced out for a music video, but you're on a budget, this is honestly the place. It looks nice, and with the current sales combined with my code Styli25 for 25% off, you can honestly get top tier jewelry with little thought for the cost. Right, so starting off, not really sure where to start, but the aim of this is to basically give you a basic idea of how to make rap vocals. It can be for a fast song, it can be for a melodic song. It's basically like the basic knowledge you're going to need to know, and then once you've got these fundamentals down, you can just play around with it and you can create all types of music. So on FL Studio is the fact that it matters where all of these are in order. So if the compression's at top and the EQ is below compression, it's going to sound a lot different than having EQ at the top, and it's literally the same. So your sound will vary significantly depending on the order of the effects, and you can obviously change that by clicking here, move up or move down. So this is the general layout that I use. This is the main vocal for this track. Give you a quick idea of how it sounds. One hit wonder, but I'm gonna last. They broke your legs, I'm running past. Don't need luck, get grip, you get a grasp. I wanna go. So that's how it sounds, and this is like the layout that I use for all of my tracks. I have EQ at top, and then if I'm doing a melodic song, I'll have the auto-tune at the very top. Auto-tune, EQ, compression, delay, reverb, sound goodizer, Maximus, and that's the order that I go with through pretty much all my songs. Once you get the fundamentals down and you've had practice, you can play around with it and you'll get an idea of how different stuff sounds, but this is generally just what I go with. So starting off, we've got a Maximus, and for that, DS and narrowband, done. It'll literally take away some of like the sounds that aren't nice, you don't want them, and it'll basically make the track sound a lot cleaner. Next we have a sound goodizer, which you don't have to use. Plenty of people don't use it, but for me it's a personal preference. I'll let you hear how it sounds with and without it. You get the idea. It just makes it a lot fuller, and then don't go too much, and I pretty much always go with A for the key. Next we've got reverb. Reverb is probably one of the things that I've spent a lot of time trying to have practice with, and it's the sort of thing where you can know what it does, but it's also like a trial and error. So one tip I'll give you for when using reverb is be visual with it. You've got this little box here that basically shows you how it looks, and use that to your advantage. Honestly, use that to your advantage. Be visual with it. So for this one, for this track, I visualize what I want the music video to be. So for this section here, I visualize myself walking down a road, and when you're walking down a road, there's going to be houses either side, isn't there? There's going to be a lot of houses, and therefore it's not going to be a circle, is it? You can have walls that it's bouncing off, and therefore that's basically what I did with the shape of it. So I was like, there's gonna be walls bouncing off, put it to walls. And then I was like, how big is it gonna be? How much room is it? How much space do I want? And I was like, it's gonna be a big area, increase the size. And it's that sort of thing. And then I was like, I don't need delay on it because I've got 2 delays here that are working. And it's that sort of trial and error. When it comes to delay, I literally just copy that preset down. I tend to put 2 delays on my tracks. One is basically just a raw echo, so you just hear my echo one after the other, and then I lower it down a lot, so it's not noticeable, but it basically fills in like the dead gaps. So in between each word, there's obviously going to be space, and sometimes you can fill that in with ad-libs, and other times it's better to fill it in with delay, and it just keeps the song nice and consistent, and it'll just sound a lot nicer as a whole. And then this delay basically is straight afterwards. So if I get rid of the instrumental so you can hear it, get rid of the stacks as well, so then, because that's another thing I tend to do with my songs, is I tend to stack the vocals as it gives it like a fuller sound. What I'll do is I'll record the main vocal, put it in here, full volume, everything, and then I'll record a second vocal. So here's one of the main vocals, full volume here, but then I'll record a second vocal, see if I can find one. Yeah, so here I record a second vocal, literally saying the exact same thing to put it straight into the same mixer track, but I lower the volume down quite significantly, and then occasionally I'll nudge it either a little bit forwards or a little bit behind the other track, so it's not like dead underneath, and it'll basically just add a fuller sound. If there's too much of it, it'll sound robotic. If there's too little, won't notice the difference. So you get it just right, it'll give it a much fuller sound, and the whole track will sound a lot nicer.
Headed in for the cash. One hit wonder, but I'm gonna last. They broke a leg, so I'm running past.
You can hear the echo. I'll do this in 2 ones.
Headed in for the cash. One hit wonder, but I'm gonna last. They headed in for the cash. One hit wonder, but I'm gonna last.
So you can hear what each of those is doing. I'd literally just, for these ones, I would literally just copy what I've got down here and then save it as a preset by going here, then save as preset. And then just paste it into your track. So that one I have, it's like the basic one, and then this one I'll just play around with depending on how much delay I want.
Headed in for the cash. One hit wonder, but I'm gonna last. They broke a leg, so I'm running past.
So that sort of thing. Then we've got compression. Compression, when it comes to the ratio, I tend to vary between 8:1, or I go for an 11:4:1, and that just again depends on the instrumental and what kind of sound I'm going for, so I'll have a play around with that. But those are the 2 ratios I use. 8:1 will give you a pretty raw natural sound, and that's kind of what I wanted for this thing. And that's one tip that I would really give, is you've got to be very visual with it. If you're looking at a music video, if you visualize the track as a music video, what do you want in it? Like, what do you want it to sound like? Whereabouts are you going to be? Are you going to be somewhere where there's a lot of echo? Are you going to be somewhere where you're literally just talking to a camera and you want it to sound very natural? Do you want to have lots of effects? All these different things will help when it comes to mixing your track. So this one will be a lot more raw, and then for some melodic ones that I'm going to have a lot more effects on, like auto-tune and other stuff like that, I tend to amp it up to an 11:4:1. So that's the ratio. Gain is literally just to make sure you can hear it loud enough. Thresholds, I tend to vary with 28.5 to 29.1 decibels. And those are the 2 I tend to go with, depending on whether I want a more raw sound or whether I want it to sound a lot more compressed, because this is obviously like the main part of compression. The lower this, the harder it's going to be to sound. So
one hit wonder, but I'm gonna last. They broke a leg, so I'm running past. Don't need luck, get grips, you get a grasp.
you get the idea. So that's compression. Have a play around with that. Then you get the then you get the types as well. Hardest generally what you want for faster raps. Like if you're going for a fast rap, I'll go with type hard, and then for melodic singy stuff, you can go with a medium. I don't really go with soft or vintage, as I personally don't like the sound, but obviously you can just have a play around with it. Finally, moving on to the EQ. This is the main one that I use for all my songs, like for when it's just like a natural vocal, like when I just want it sounding like me, this is what I use. Sometimes I'll make it distorted and stuff, but this is what I use if I just want it to sound like me, and then occasionally I'll tweak it, like I'll move it around, but that's the general. This is the general one that I use. So we've got 53% and 124 hertz. We've got 39%, 136 hertz. We've got 9%, 242 hertz. We've got 5%, 528 hertz. 39%, 2,258 hertz. 21%, 8,382 hertz. 61% and 17,369 hertz. And yeah, that's basically like the basic mix. You can obviously add EQ and, no, not EQ, you can add auto-tune. I think I've got auto-tune on one of these. Actually, no, I never used it in the end for this track, but I must have considered it, which is why it's there. And to auto-tune, you basically just find the key of the instrumental, put the key there, and then play around with this. And then another effect that I sometimes use is chorus, which will make it sound a little more robotic. So you want to make sure it's quite low, but it adds some form of compression, and it'll basically, it can make the vocal sound a lot smoother and more like it's molded in with the instrumental. Like that's one big thing that you want to work on when you're making tracks, is you don't necessarily want to make it sound like the vocal, there's a vocal, like someone's rapping, and then there's someone behind you just like playing instruments. You want it to be just one thing. You don't want the instrument on the vocals to be separate. You want it to be like merged into one whole song, and that's something that I found chorus can help with. So yeah, that's basically the tutorial, honestly. If you've got questions, like this is obviously a very basic one. It's a very basic tutorial on just like how I generally mix most of my songs, but obviously there's experience behind it, and that's how I'm able to play around with it and try different things. But if you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section, and if you want more tutorials and for me to go into more specifics on how to make different styles of songs, because I obviously do melodic stuff, stuff that's similar to alternative rock, emo rap, fast rap, and all of those are obviously going to be very different in how you mix them. So this was just a very simple tutorial, and yeah, that was basically it.